the Turdas culture, Neolithic archaeological culture. So they've found like this is one of the biggest excavations when it comes to Neolithic, and yeah, they found lots of things. So what they established is that they were technologically advanced. They had copper metallurgy. They had their own alphabet. They had their own arts, and so this picture I just wanted to show, like, if you just imagine, if you want to plant your plant somewhere, where you're going to put the plant? You want to put it in an area where you have good soil, where you have plenty of fresh water, and you want to put it in an area where you have plenty of sun. It's like, yeah, it's logical. So in which area would you have big growth of population? Would you have it up in the north of Sweden, or would you have it in the area where you have the best conditions for a population to grow? So of course it's going to be in this area, which is like the medium, which I've written down. And if you look at all of that area through Spain and Italy and the Balkans, you will say the biggest river in Europe is the Balkans. Life runs according to the water, right? So, and when you look at the Danube, what's happening there, you have a crossroads between different rivers. Sava and Danube are meeting together. So it's like, just by looking at the map, you can come to a conclusion that this is like, okay, this is some kind of crossroad. This is, yeah, and so it's not a surprise that you have this Neolithic culture being born there. And probably at the time, we will still have ice withdrawing in the north of Europe. So if we look at the foundings that we have from the Vinci culture, so, and this is one of the key things that's been happening when it comes to fabricating and falsifying history. That they, first of all, they don't talk about the Vinci culture so much. They kind of they recognize it because you can't say it doesn't exist because of all of the excavations, right? But they just don't give it so much attention. And then when they look at the alphabet and all of the symbols and all of the mythology and all the imagery and all the figures and arts that come from there, they say, we don't, it's nothing special, really. It's nothing really interesting to see. And it's a reason for why they do that. So if you look at to the right, you have the letters. You have the Vincian letters all the way to the right. And Philipp, you're going to recognize. You're going to recognize, if you look at it, you're going to see that that's a strong correlation with the Cyrillic alphabet you have in the Slavic countries.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
Yeah, pretty much the same. And all the way to the right, you have today's Cyrillic alphabet in Serbia. It's like, it's not identical, but it's a lot of similarities. And then you see the whole story falling apart when you think about just the Greek alphabet. If you take up the Greek alphabet, you will see it's very alike the Vincian alphabet, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So which one comes first? The Neolithic culture, 5,000 before Christ, or the Greek culture?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of timeline that they give us. Actually, I think it was for example, Bronze Age. Yeah, of course, sure. The Bronze Age, or bronze metallurgy was after the iron metallurgy, because there's no way you can produce anything without knowing iron metallurgy, and therefore no excavation or large mining of bronze could be possible without knowing iron, because iron is simpler to to figure out, at least because it could be possibly figured out faster, and bronze is not so important as iron. So why would you expand in bronze if you have iron that is cheaper and faster to explore? You just find out the phenomenon of something, like, and you do the same with different metals, different type of ores and findings that you find around. So it's like their explanation and doesn't even find any critics for me. So but the cultural roots are very much established with what you say, because we also have the andronic culture in Asia, which is like dated to uh, 20,000 BC, and they don't even want to research it, although they find a bunch of mounds and bunch of excavation, also some statues, some ceramics and stuff like this, but they don't want to research it
Yeah,
because it's like 20,000 years ago, so it's like older than Egyptian culture that they say like it was like 10,000 years. And so how
doesn't
do you
fit.
explain it?
Uh, doesn't fit in their story timeline.
Yeah, and they find giant skeletons. They're like 2.2 meters and taller, 2.2 meters and taller, and they don't even mention it in their reports.
Yeah, that's
So much is
yeah,
the opposite.
that's it's a method they have. You just ignore everything that breaks the current kind of story.
This shield, this emblem on this cross is the one you see in many Scandinavian countries and
I, I
flags.
I wouldn't even known about it if I wasn't uh, searching the web so hardly in the 2007 2008, when then everything was available there, and nobody was even erasing the evidence at that time. And then we found that article about one Omsk factory that was sponsoring the archaeological excavation of this andronic culture in Omsk, my hometown. So it's like, and they were like saying that it was since the beginning of 20th century, the first time they started excavating, they found all those giant skeletons, and they like dug it all back and like buried all back, and went back to Moscow and reported it. And then they came back in 60s, and figured there should be a national park around this place so nobody can excavate anymore. And then this new third party came in 80s and actually find something again. And all these ceramics came out, and this dating and this lab tests about the actual timeline came out, and they said that 20,000 BC. So it's like, wow. And nobody even came from Moscow anymore.
No, that's yeah. They established themselves probably in Moscow. They established them in all big countries, in all universities, in all kind of official, how to say, departments. So they keep good track on what's going on.
They have just a national park about it, so you can't excavate by yourself. So you have to get a permit, and you cannot even get it anymore. So Moscow not giving a permit anymore.
I think it's a tight lid on Russia and all Slavic countries because underground you never know what you can find, as you say.
The biggest problem is China, because they find all this stuff in China, and the Chinese are very like nobody wants to know that there were a bunch of Slavs in China before, so it's like very very itchy point for them.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's always a sensitive issue because then you can discuss claim on territory, right? And it's,
No, it's just because of propaganda they have all those since 60s, when Soviet and China was, quarreling a lot, arguing on different questions, and America tried to break this alliance between two communist countries,
Ooh.
and they got all this propaganda that everything from Ural Mountains is our occupied territory of theirs. So like the Great Tartaria was their country and stuff like this, and so it's like. So this is where it comes out, because they don't want people to research Great Tartaria, because if you research, you find out it was just a multinational, multi-regional empire that was established on the ruins of the previous hugest empire. So it's not like the hugest empire like people trying to say to us. It's not the hugest empire. There was bigger before. So and this is what this misleading information comes out from, because the Chinese trying to pull all those strings, and they actually trying to find the way to conquer the world right now with the globalist help.
Yes. Yeah, it's the crazy mindset. But we don't know what is the real story. Actually, we just can point out and see what's wrong with the official story. So we can just show here that we show the official story, and then we show some indications how it might be, but I don't know how it is. I mean, maybe somebody was much more well researched as they got the bigger picture. But for me, this story about the scattered ones, Raseni.
Yeah, what is the origin of this Serb itself? What is the origin? What it literally means, Serb?
There's actually several different theories. One of them says it's cerebra. Cerebra. So it means from the rib. It's like Eve is made from Adam's rib.
Yeah, I know. But cerebra in Russia is cerebro, is like silver. How do you call silver in Serbian?
We say cerebro.
So this is where it comes from, because in Russia we had three like huge parts. It was called Gold Orda, Cerebra Orda, and Black Orda, I think. So it's like probably the Cerebra is the name of Serebrina Orda. So it's like the Western Orda. Orda is like the organization of way of life, is like self governance. Self governance.
Okay, yeah, and that's also very, very interesting here.
Swedish is nothing like that. It's silver, and what was the other word? Yeah, in French is d'argent. So nothing similar to those languages.
Another kind of explanation is what I've heard. I heard cerebra, and then I heard one is to like a servant.
Yeah, and a slave and a servant. Yeah.
Not about slave. There's this official story. According to official history, the Slavs, the origin of the name for the Slavs are coming from being slaves. That's the original official story, and I imagine how menacing that is, how evil that is.
Yeah, this is when you beat the hell out of your enemy, you can call him slave, and this is where it comes from.
No, it doesn't actually come from. If you look at in Serbian, slava means to praise. Slava.
Yeah, it's glorifying.
Yeah, it's glorified.
Yeah. I mean, this is the easiest way to mock somebody. It's like when we like fighting Germans, we don't call them Germans, we call them Niemcy.
Yeah, we do too. Yeah.
So Niemcy is like something like he doesn't speak your language. He's like
he doesn't hear and speak. Yeah.
He's like, cannot say something. So you don't understand what he's saying, or he's not saying anything. So it's like, this is where to mock your enemy, and it's like when you have an enemy for a couple of 100 years, you call him Slav because they like splitting the nations between each other and like make them fight, and that's where it comes from. So when you have a bunch of war prisoners, how do you call them?
Yeah.
When you grab a bunch of troops after you win, and you get those people to work, they work for food and nothing else. So it's like that's where you come the slavery and the Slav.
Yeah, I can just mention here that the Vinci culture, they had this goddess. Her name was Serbona. So we have a connection. We have a connection with the alphabet. We have a connection with symbols. So there's plenty of connections connecting the Slavs to this Vinci culture. And then what you talked about here also is this.
You have Serbona, bone in English, bone, the bone of a rib. You said the rib also.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're right.
Ben. Ben in Swedish.
Ben. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Serben. So also you say Ben. But as we mentioned, as you said, Philip, is this ongoing war that's been constant between the Slavs and the Germanic tribes in the west of Europe.
Yeah, it's like making your brothers fight.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and this is, I think, this has been going on for I don't think we know how long this has been going on for. It's a really long ongoing war.
It's like each and every reset start with this new war.
Yeah. I actually found a picture. I would need to find. This was a Swedish-German book from the First World War, made about the Balkans. And you know what they did? They took picture of a group of people in a village in the Balkans. And this is like a psyop from the 100 years ago. You can see that they've been sketching in their faces to make them look uglier. So imagine that they were trying to promote the war against the barbaric Slavs in the Balkans. And then they were misfiguring faces of children and women and men in the picture to make them look like barbarians.
Yeah, because men are already a lot uglier than women, right? So it's not very hard to see the scary face of a man in front of you and be like, think that he is ugly.
Yeah. I can see, maybe I can find them. I can send them to you later. But what I wanted to get to is that how they disfigured, how they made this fabrication in history is that they've instead of they don't want to recognize that the Slavs have already been there, so they call them.
Step number one is start calling each other names. So it's like when you like trying to mock somebody and he's like getting pissed off and his shit blows extra. So it's like this is how to make him start killing. So it's like it's crisscross propaganda, calling each other names, calling each other different accusations. And this is how you start the fight.
Yeah. But also this fabrication, how they made it possible is that they confuse everybody. So instead of if they would say that they said that these are Illyrians, and then you have the Vents, and then the barbarians, and then the Thracians, and then you have the Etruscans, and then you have the Iceni, Tribali, but they're all the same people.
Yep.
It's like same today. Like if we look at the Slavs today, just in the Balkans, you can have 20 different names from different groups. But if a Swede goes down to the Balkans, they will say, but these are pretty much the same people, and they're right. So, but this division has been and when you make a division between different subgroups, it would be like if we go to Sweden and then we say that people living in Karlstad are like a special ethnic group, and then the people living in Örebro are another group. And we start dividing, but there is no division. It's really amazing how they pulled it off.
Yeah. Yugoslavia was the example of how people could, actually live and don't even fight for several decades.
Yeah. It was a brotherhood, sisterhood. Yeah.
And look what happened. Exactly at the signal came, all this stuff that was forgotten from the 50, 60 years ago came out just like this. Like everybody was waiting. You know, it came out really fast, and well, everybody starts fighting. You know, Croatians starting killing Serbians and stuff like this. Serbians starting, you know, fighting back. Then the Albanians and Kosovo stuff, and NATO came just like this. You know, started bombing all this crap.
Yeah.
So,
It's very easy to divide people. It's very,
yeah, and looks like they were like, you know, just ruining the whole place. I mean, they like starting to make you leave your land, actually, because they were using uranium.
yeah.
Why would they do that? For what reason?
Yeah, it's a ongoing war. It's a war.
The uranium, is it really not the new cokes? Is it really dangerous?
Yeah, to poison the land, to poison the land, the people, leave the people.
I don't know, Helena. I know what you mean about it, but I know
the
for a
fear.
fact.
Yeah.
I know for a fact I have an uncle that he was on the battlefield, and after they were bombing, he got a cancer behind the ear, and this was so common back then.
Maybe something else.
So it could be, I don't know
They
what.
used another weapon, but they blame it on the uranium.
It could be something
That's what
like
I
that.
think.
I know for a fact it's been an outbreak of cancer after those bombings.
It could be sorcery as well. It could be so many things.
Yeah, of
It could be
course.
trauma, sorcery trauma.
I mean, we know about chemistry and chemical weapons, right? Also could be used, and we don't even know.
Yes.
So it's like, but I mean, the Croatians were like brothers to Serbians, and look what happened. Just at the same simple signal, everybody starts fighting. I mean, this is some frequency weapon, probably.
Yes. Another thing, how come just some generations and some people, some groups had to take out their appendix and got the appendix infected? And my grandmother and her generation, my great-grandmother's generation, nobody ever had problems with that. Nobody had cancer. But during a period of time, my parents' generation and my generation, many had to take out their appendix. And now the people who are younger, they don't have that problem at all, and they eat crap food. So it doesn't make any sense. So that must have been a targeted, some kind of sorcery vaccine, something. Just what I think. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it could be just this chemical spraying, like what they do, and they didn't do it like back then because they don't have airplanes.
Yes, but younger people, those that are younger than I, they don't get it now. They don't have that problem, and the world is even worse now, so they should be worse off. So, and also the appendix has a very important. It takes samples of the food, and then it knows where the food and the minerals are supposed to be used. So it kind of analyzes, but it's more spiritual, more smart. So if you can't analyze, so then you don't know where the food is going to go or the nutrition. So it had a very important, so it really messed up the digestion. And maybe that's also why many people have, gluten milk and, all these problems. So anyway.
Yeah, a very good point. In fact, we'll have to think about it.
Yeah.
So let's see. We talked about before the birth of new languages, and just in the latest period, we didn't see the birth of the Bosniak language and the Montenegrin language. So So you take one language, the Serbian Croatian language, and then you create two more languages. And so what they do is like they in the Croatian language after the independence, they took like and changed 3,000 words every year. And then they sometimes they just switch, like B becomes F, for instance. So you can imagine by doing that every year, you put in a couple of hundred, a couple of thousand new words, and then you switch some phonetics. Then you get a completely other language after a while. You can just understand how that happens. So we can just see how this Danube area has is like there's so many languages that has come out of this area. They just they just create a new one. They just
yes. Official explanation doesn't support any critics actually, because I think what could possibly happen is some attack or disaster or catastrophe that made all those areas be apart for a certain period of time, like decade or something, and people starting using different words because of isolation. And when they came out of these aftermath, they started to communicate and figured out that they have different accents, different dialects and stuff like this. That's why maybe in Germany you have like 300 dialects. But it's not very vast, like Russia or China, but it has as many dialects as probably Africa. So
I think that could be a way a new language occurs. But I think also this is very sure that this also is a very common way a new language. So imagine if Russia and France starts to suppress Germany, and then you start cutting out areas from Germany and say, this area needs to be independent, and then you support them, and then you give them a new language, and then they change their vocabulary. And France does the same thing on their border of Germany. So after a while, you will have in Germany, you will create like 5 different countries with 5 different languages, and then if you fast forward into the future, people try to understand what happened, and you can just fabricate history and say this has always been 5 different people living here. You're not Germans, it's 5 different people.
One thing that is interesting that I noticed, because I'm a sucker for languages, that is, we were talking about antique tech, and anyway, so there's some words like radio and television. I think it's the same word in almost all languages. So some of these, medias that aren't really good for us, the propaganda has the same word, because it's something not natural or something made not by us. What do you think about that?
I think
even Japanese say radio.
I think if you have a new kind of a new gadget, then that name's gonna spread over the world. I mean, back when the TV came up, the world was also connected. So I think that's nothing strange about it.
But these gadgets are probably much older, and were even more advanced before. So I was just, it was just an idea.
Yeah, I mean, we have volume thinking that we've been talking about in the beginning of our discussion. It's like when you have a plate, in each and every country, you visualize your plate from a dish, from what you eat, as something flat and round, right? Or something like maybe flat, because the plate could be rectangular, could be oval, could be round, could be, you know, square plate
Yes,
also.
yeah.
So, but it's flat each and every time. It's flat. But when you have a plate on each, you have an apple that is circling. What do you think about it? It's like a vision of uploading image in iPhone or any other device, right?
Hmm.
So when you have it in legend as something like some person is looking at the plate where apple is circling in circles, and when he visualize his what he wants to visualize, or you have a mirror who you talk to and ask her a search question,
Yeah.
like mirror on the wall, who's the has more likes today, like who has more views today, like what's on trends, Google, what's on Google Trends, right? What's on YouTube? And you have it back, like, yeah, you the top, man. Don't worry, go make another video, upload it on YouTube, and you get famous, you get money. So this is like very interesting through the legends. What do you have legends in Serbia? What kind of legends do you have? The main legends.
I can't think of any right now.
Can I say something? I came to think of, like when we were talking about costumes, and we call it traditions. So if you look at plates, handicraft, clothes, hats, and so forth, if people were to infiltrate an area and they get blocked in an area, you could have people changing the language, like agents, cultural agents, and they can sew and they can change the words, they can change the language, they can change the patterns and the symbols.
Yeah.
And also probably using sorcery, I'm sure of it. So
That's what's being done, basically, right? I think that's what's being done.
We call it neuro-linguistic programming. It's like when somebody brings some information into your brain via some speech or some text.
Like the film The Village. Have you seen that, Philipp and Zakleo? Have you seen the film The Village?
No, I haven't.
It's about these people that are captivated. They believe they live in a culture, and the elders, they have these scary, anyway, that's a spoiler if you haven't seen it, but they keep them captivated, but they believe that they're free.
Uh-huh.
And they live in a different time than we do. You should see it, The Village.
Okay. It sounds like it's a message in there, like for.
Oh yeah.
It's like about us, because
it
we
is.
think we live in.
It is totally.
We think we live in 2019, but we live in 7527.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
We're slaves, but we think we're free.
Yeah, exactly.
I have one slide about, that's the 7527.
Wow.
That's a Serbian calendar there. And they counted from what is in the books that they found, is they counted from the flood, the Great Flood. That's what with year zero in the Serbian.
It's not from the Great Flood exactly. It's from creation of earth or creation of peace. Mir is creation of Mir. And Mir is like, could be a peace treaty, or could be a world, or could be, establishing of something. So it's like we have we have a space station that was called Mir. It was sunk into the ocean. And so it's like also we have like different spelling of this word. So, and they seem to forget it, like take this Mir world from each and every search, because what they doing is they changing the definitions so nobody can understand what Mir is. And Mir is a peace treaty. Peace treaty after the war. So we had a huge war, 7,527 years ago.
Yeah.
And after this war probably was a flood, probably a big one. And we had a peace treaty, so we should not have a war. But somebody broke this peace treaty, as we can see, and right now occupied us.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm thinking about, when you were talking about Mir, I was thinking about the Marine Kingdom, because I made some notes on that. So if we have time today, or we'll take it another day.
Yeah,
But
I'm talking about the two sides. The sides.
yeah. But what I'm thinking about NASA and well, the space programs in general, whether it was Russian or not, that they talk about space, but actually they're, even if everyone knows they're diving, they're actually in the Marine Kingdom. So
yeah, of course.
So it's much darker, and also with the tongue, the split tongue for the symbol, it's also a marine symbol. So
that's interesting.
Yeah. So it's
And-
much deeper than just this joke. So
Yeah, and I'm trying to establish the connection between all those serpent, snake people, all those Syrians and stuff like this, all those creatures from the Navi world. They came out with the flood and, and conquered our place. So this is actually what happened, because Nagi is established in India, captured India. We were trying to fight back. They kicked our ass, and so when it started to get all ruined, because this is where this certain point when they established the all those religions and spread us and split us all nations via those catastrophes, I think, and the mud floods, also the technologies to erase the populations and establish new paradigms.
Yeah.
what is that building?
And it's a monastery. I think it's from Kosovo.
Yeah.
Patriarchka Pečka.
It's like patriarch stove.
Yeah. And here they show also that in the Serbian calendar you only have summer and winter. You don't have. They don't see it as 4 seasons. So yeah, and then they have the New Year is in the different dates. This year, the spring was in the 4th of April. Then that's the start of the summer, and then at Mitrovdan, which should be like I don't know what they call the autumn when it's
Dan is a day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody who's researching the so-called Dan, this is the people from the day, the white people. So
yeah, and that is where it's a crossover to the winter, and then it makes this figure symbol 8, or the infinite. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, we see 8 as what we've been talking about before.
Yeah. I wanted to show you. There's. I've written down a couple of words.
Yeah.
I could just mention some of them just to show the intimate connection between Slavic and English. We can just we can pick one wherever. There's plenty of them. Here's one that I like. I'm gonna find it for you. Yeah, this one I like. Is where we say hladno is cold.
Yeah.
Led is ice. Oko, the eye is how to say, it's very glatko. How do you say in Russian? Do you have the word glatko?
Glass. 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 And glass is what we have in your glasses. Like this is also glass.
Yeah, but the yeah, exactly. So the eye, which is the most, how to say, it's the most refined part of the body.
It's a refraction device. It's actually refraction of the light to the brain, right? It's a device that analyzing all this information.
Yeah, and then the surface of the eyes, how do you call it? It's very glatko. It's very polished. It's very, how do you say? It's a glide. You can glide. So you have eye, which is glatko. Then you have pogled, which is the vision.
Glance in English is also to take a view on somebody, to take a glance, like a short view.
Yeah, there you have it. Take a glance. Yeah, gled. That's the same. Yeah, you see it. I never heard about that.
Glance in Swedish.
Yeah, glans. But you also have glida in Swedish.
Yes,
and you also have glass, which is also
glass. Exactly.
Glass in Swedish.
Yes. So you have glass, which is also as the eye. It's very kind of polished surface. Yeah, it's very, you can glide on it, so to say. And then you have
flaska, glasa.
glass. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody would understand this because most of our viewers are English-speaking guys. So I think they're pretty much astonished with what we're just trying to talk about.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
So you have the connection between the eye, the vision, and then you have the connection to materials which have the same characteristics.
That kind of proves us that they had glasses before they even started using the alphabet. So it's like because so they had the technology of glasses before they supposed to have an alphabet.
Yeah, exactly. You have an alphabetic, you have a phonetic, you have a logic, you have a connection to it already established before the invention is made.
Guys, we're fucked. We're totally fucked, guys.
Why?
They beat the hell out of us. We don't even remember anything.
No, but this is the fascinating thing with language. When we look at different meanings like this, it's like a matrix. It really is the reality matrix, and you know what they say: the word is creative. So imagine if we use words that are disfigured, then we are actually creating a disfigured reality. But if we would use words and a language that is purer, by that logic, we will create the more perfect world.
Yeah, let's go to gravity.
I had to screenshot it because
the word you have in the right column, gravity, grab.
Where is it? Grab it. Yeah, to grab.
Yeah. Do you have an instrument where you can go with some leaves and stuff like that? We call it grabli. Yeah. So and grab it is when you steal something from the person with the force, like rob. Is grab it in Russian.
Yes, it's the same in English. Grab and gravity is the same. You can see it's the same root.
That's where it comes from. The grab. You don't guys understand what it's grab. Grab is from grab it. So it's like take something from the person, rob him.
Here's another really interesting one. If you look at the right column and then you have number 5, you have the English word chaste.
Cast.
How do you pronounce it?
Yeah.
It's like the being clean,
Cast.
Yeah, being a chaste person. And then in Slavic you have the root being, you have the chist, clean.
Clean, yeah.
So if you look in a dictionary, you look for clean, you will find so you see chaste is different from being clean, but these words are related, and you will never find this in a lexicon. Do you get what I want to say?
Yeah, I understand, because casting you know what is casting? It's like when you pick an actors, you have a clean sheet before you start casting. So
casting spells.
And cast is like when you write each and every person on this sheet. Actually, you fill the sheet, you fill the whatever, the table, you know, Excel table. It's also casting, like.
Okay. I didn't thought about that. For me, I thought about the word.
And each and every person of this cast is a part or chest. A chest is чистый, чистый is clean. So this is what you're trying to say.
No, I think the word chest in English also means like it means like being sexually pure, right?
Oh, yeah.
The word chest means by living like a clean life. It's not physically clean, but it's like spiritually clean.
Kysk in Swedish.
Kysk, exactly. Yeah, then we have the connection
No,
to
like
this.
And we have Indian Vedic kasta, which is also chest of the society. You have the highest kasta, and this is where casting comes from, because each and every person is assigned to a certain role.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. So you have the level of spiritual cleanliness.
Yeah, because one caste is the clean and one is untouchable, you know, guys. You cannot even touch them because they are not clean.
Yeah, that's it. It's amazing.
Sure is.
And then you have the word. Do you have the word trust in Russian?
Yeah, chest is a part of something.
Trust in Serbian means honor.
Chest in Russian is honor. Чистый is clean.
Chist is clean.
Yeah. Chest, чист. Its honor is always clean, right? So it's like...
Yeah, exactly. This is, I don't know why, but talking about these things just makes me happy. It's just something that happens inside of you when you
let's finish with the Svet saint in the bottom of this.
Svet. Yeah. Svet means to be holy.
Yeah, Svet is light in Russian.
Yeah. Then you have Svetlo. Yeah. Also light.
Svetlana.
Saint is clean, also clean person with the light above his head.
Yeah.
So like enlightened person, enlightenment, elite. Elite is ignite or enlighter.
Yeah.
You know, enlightenment. That's where sweat comes from. And I've been talking about this. The people in the church, they also have all those clothes, which look like electricity protection.
Yeah, that's
with all different metals and stuff, and also
but the women cover their heads so the hair doesn't get electric.
So the hair won't have static electricity.
Exactly.
But Svet means also the world in Serbian.
Svet is a mir, yes, also Svet, new world, new Svet, Novi Svet. It's like America.
So it's like the
How do you say new world order?
Yeah, Svet is also part of the world. It's like new world, old world. New Svet, Novi Svet, Stary Svet. Europe is Stary Svet.
Yeah, so it's direct connection between the English
and where this is where comes Tartary, because Stary is old. Stary. This is a word. Tara, also the ancient goddess in India. The top goddess or mother goddess, it was called Tara. Also, Ra comes out of this as an old god. So we have all this connection is coming out of India, Russia, Serbia, and all the Europe and Asia is all connected with this duga or arch of knowledge and information.
Yeah. I want to pick just one more, Philip. I want to touch one that is, I thought what was really interesting. You have the verb in Serbian, skinuti, which means to take off. So imagine in the times, before, when we have the hunters going and killing animals. Then you kill an animal, and then skidash, kosh, skinned kosh, skin,
Kvinna.
Yeah.
to skin. So you see that the connections sometimes are in a different kind of way than we think.
Yeah.
So in England you call the skin, that's the skin. In Serbian or Slavic it's koža, right? How do you say in Russian?
Кожа.
Koža is the same, yeah.
But we also have shkura, which is SK in shkura, but ra is like send somebody to God and take off his skin.
Oh, in Swedish it's skinna, and skära is cut.
Yeah.
So one is to pull off the skin, and the other one is cut. So it's very similar.
Yeah,
to
it's
the Russian.
related.
Yeah.
Wow. Skära, skära.
Skära, skinna.
Skinna.
Send somebody to God, like you were killing the animal, but you were sending him to God with some, like what they had in Avatar when that Avatar girl talked to an animal when she killed him, like blah, 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 something like this. So it's like won't be so sad and dull to get killed. And also Muslims and Jews kill animals with some some talking to them and some ritual which calls this killing clean and fair and square with this animal.
Yeah.
So this is all connected to all this hunting tradition that probably we had before.
And then you said Helena skära, and then it's the same. Skär, and then it's a ra. Yeah, it's going.
Ra.
Yeah. This is the best topic. I think we could spend another hour just looking at this.
Yeah, we can go back to this. I'll edit all this stuff and post it in a couple of parts so people can comprehend, because we have like almost 2 hours of talk.
I know.
So.
And now I haven't even started. We're gonna have to be up all night.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
I'm just kidding. Unless you want to push it, but press on. But otherwise, maybe if you want to continue some other day, Philipp.
Yeah.
Because I have some ideas to talk about.
Let's go on Sunday.
Yeah. Sunday. Yeah.
Sunday is okay because other days are busy.
Okay.
Or maybe if you can make it Sunday, we can do it on Monday. So just write me, it's like Saturday or something. So
okay.
Okay, guys. Thanks a lot for joining.
Thank you so much. It was fun.
Thank you, Philip.
Yeah, I hope everybody will be happy to post us some comments and we can answer those questions later on in the second part or next part. Okay? See you later. Nice to meet you.
Soon.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, see ya.
Okay. Bye.